Welcome everybody. Let's get started. My name is Jason Puglisi. I'm the founder and president of the Holistic School of Business, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Callie Pegeus, who is our guest speaker tonight. The topic is Transforming Challenging Emotions, an Ancient Yogic Practice for Women. And I'm a man, so obviously it's okay that men are here too for this.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to tonight's presentation by Callie. The first 30 minutes will be a meditation, and Callie has a special meditation for us planned tonight.
Yeah.
So, would you like to start with the sound of the bell? Would you like me to invite the bell? Or?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Excellent. So why don't we all just kind of tune in together and focus on our breathing for 3 full sounds of the bell. And then Callie, you can transition into the meditation from there.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
So tonight we've got a special meditation that comes from Kundalini Yoga. It's called Kirtan Kriya. It is probably one of the most researched meditations in all scientific research of meditation that there is. So there's a lot of information about what it does for you. But just to sum it up, it's been scientifically proven to increase gray matter in the brain, help memory recollection, help with Alzheimer's, and it also helps to balance emotions. So this meditation uses a mantra, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So Sa is infinity, Ta would be existence or life, Na would be transformation or death, and Ma is that rebirth. So by using these sounds, there's the whole connection with the sacred, the science of sound and mantra, and how the vibrations play out in your body and in the cave of your mouth. But using using these particular sounds is going to bring about an energetic shift different than not saying them. So you're welcome to do the meditation whatever is comfortable for you, but I encourage everybody to speak it. We're going to be repeating this mantra, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, loudly, quietly, silently, and then back up to quietly and back up to loudly. So as we chant this loudly, it's, the voice of the world, the voice of yourself. You start to chant more quietly, it's your inner voice. It's the voice of the lover, your self-love. And as you chant quietly, it's the voice of the source. And then we bring it back up. For this meditation, we changed the mudra. So we've got our hands relaxed on our legs. And then when we say Sa, thumb and index fingers go together. Just press them gently. Ta, thumb and middle finger. Na, thumb and ring finger. Ma, thumb and pinky finger. So each finger is its own energetic seal. So the thumb represents the ego. The index finger would be your Jupiter finger, wisdom. And here we have patience and intuition. Pinky fingers, communication. I'm forgetting which the ring finger is at the moment. It's the Mercury finger. So every time we change our mudra, the electrical impulse in our body changes. We actually have 2 fingers that are negatively charged compared to the other ones. So that's just a little bit of background behind the mudra. So this being a meditation that comes from Kundalini Yoga, we always tune in with a special mantra. Sometimes in yoga we tune in with Om. In Kundalini Yoga we tune in with Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. And it means I bow or I call on the divine teacher inside myself. And we do that 3 times at the beginning of any Kundalini meditation or yoga practice. And what it does is it calls on the masters before us and after us, and it puts us in that chain, and it kind of puts this beautiful little bubble of protection around us and lifts the energy before we even start the meditation. There's information over here about the meditation that we're going to do, and information about the mantra, the tune-in mantra. It's called the Adi mantra, and it's Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. When we say Ong, it's different from Om. O-N-G, so the tongue touches the roof of your mouth, and you can feel that vibration through your nasal cavity. And we'll be having our hands in prayer pose, and a lot of times you can feel that vibration all the way down through your body. So that vibration is the manifestation of the energy. So that's the shift between Om and Ong. So that's the breakdown of what we're going to do, very simply. It's going to be a 21-minute meditation. And we can just sit in whatever comfortable posture works for us. If you're sitting in a chair, it's good to sit up a little bit so you're not leaning back, so that your spine is coming right up over your hips. And then you want to tuck your chin in. So tucking your chin in is actually a yogic neck lock. It's called Jalandhar Bandha neck lock. And it's essentially a really neutral space. So if you're sitting neutrally, your head just kind of is right here. Neck lock, your chin just tucks in one little notch more. So you're feeling the length in the back of your neck, but the front of your neck is really nice and short. And when we're creating this really nice neutral space, energy can flow freely up the spine and into your brain. This is a posture that we use for the head and the neck in Kundalini Yoga pretty much throughout practice. And you can feel a difference in the energy circulation if you kind of tune into it. So let's just take a moment and settle in, feeling your spine rise up nice and tall, letting your bones hold you and your muscles relax as your crown rises up towards the sky. Anytime you're comfortable, your eyes can close and focus up and in at your third eye. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale all the way out. And inhale, rub your palms together. So we're going to say the mantra. We're going to chant it in a monotone. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. So Dev goes up 1 octave. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 times and 1 breath each. If we end up stretching it out too long, you need to breathe. Just take another sip. So rub your palms together. Bring your hands into prayer pose. So you have a little pressure on your palms and a little pressure on your sternum. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And we're going to inhale to tune in with Om Namo Gurudev Namo.
Namo Gurudev
Extend your breath for a moment, focusing at your third eye, giving the prana place to move to. And exhale, relax your hands down onto your knees. So just pause with that energy for a moment and be aware of what's going on in your body. Not necessarily attached, just noticing how you're feeling, if there's any shift or not. Okay. So turning your hands over if they're palms down, you're going to want your hands resting on your thighs or your knees with your arms pretty straightish, but not locked. So we're going to begin chanting Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, changing your mudra as you go. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Perfect. Sa, ta, na, ma. Index finger, keep going. Ta, na, ma. Sa, 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 ta, na, ma. Now we'll whisper. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 Sa, na, ma, sa, ta, 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 na, ma. Now silently keep going with the mudra. whisper it again. Sa, ta, na, ma, 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 sa, ta, na, ma. Let's go loudly. Sa, ta, na, ma, 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 sa, ta, Na. Ma. And take a deep breath in and suspend your breath. Exhale. And again, inhale and hold. And exhale. And last time, inhale. Hold your breath, stretch. Shake your hands, exhale. The shaking your hands resets your energy field after that meditation, or after any meditation. So there are a lot of different forms of Kirtan Kriya. You can do cross-heart Kirtan Kriya, which is really great for bringing energy from your lower chakras up into your heart center to hold it there. I do this as a walking meditation when I'm in the forest, and sometimes I speak it, and sometimes I just do it silently, depending on how my breath is. There's a form that's amazing for women, lying on your stomach with your chin on the floor, with your arms back by your sides. Doing it that way balances your hormones, and it's like one of the best meditations you can do to rebalance yourself. So that is Kirtan Kriya. Let's just close with a long sat and a brief nam. So rub your palms together, bring your hands into prayer pose. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. And inhale to close. Sat is truth, Nam is name, my true identity, or just like Namaste, the ultimate truth in me, the light in me, acknowledges and honors the light inside me.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you. I feel so relaxed and grounded now.
Yeah. So Yogi Bhajan, who was master of Kundalini Yoga that brought it to the U.S., he said that if all of Kundalini Yoga was lost and we had this one meditation, it would get us through.
Okay. Come on in. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and introduce you now, Callie. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Jason. I'm the founder of the Holistic School of Business. Thanks for coming tonight to our Monday night speaker series. Tonight's topic is transforming challenging emotions, an ancient practice for women, and apparently for men too, because Jim and I are here. Just a few things about the school and a couple of quick announcements before we get into the talk tonight. So again, the name of the school here is the Holistic School of Business, and I think we have a few new people here, but we have a very unique approach to business development. Here at the school, we work with a lot of coaches, healers, activists, change agents, heart-centered entrepreneurs, people who are interested in really getting to the core of who they are and developing a successful business based on what my coach trainer always used to say, who you be. So we create a bridge here at the school. We help our clients to create a bridge between what we would call the beingness of life and the doingness of life. Okay, so we all have a unique purpose for being here on this planet, and the intention of the school is to help our students, to help our clients kind of tap into that unique purpose that we all have and build a bridge between, oh, this is who I am, and this is my authentic expression of my work in the world. So we're offering a lot of free workshops right now. Please make yourself at home. This is your space. It's a community space. We're happy that you're here. So please make yourself comfortable. You've already kicked your shoes off, so that's perfect. So we have some exciting workshops coming up. I am going to be offering myself a series of 4 workshops on business building And all of the workshops really have to do with kind of building this bridge that I was just talking about between the beingness of life and the doingness of life. There's actually one tomorrow night. It's called Craft Your Bold Business Vision. We'll help you clarify a powerful vision for your business. And then on Tuesday the 28th, there's a bunch of little cards up here. So if anybody owns a business or is working on a business, please feel free to grab one of these. On the 28th of November, there's a workshop called Rapid Client Enrollment. We'll be covering a 4-week strategy to boost sales in your business. And then on Tuesday, December 12th, there's a workshop on heart-centered websites, which will focus on how to use your website to grow your business. And then on Tuesday, January 9th, we're going to be offering a workshop called Sales System Design, which will focus on creating a client enrollment strategy for long-term, consistent, and reliable income. So the workshop on the 28th will be more of a short-term rapid client enrollment, and then the one on the 9th is more the long-term. Well, this is how to really set it up for good if we really want to have long-term, steady cash flow in our business. And then we have our Monday speaker series, which goes, every week right through mid-December. Next week we have another really great workshop, I'm sure. It's called Peaceful Death Planning, and the speaker will be Linda Cannon Hoffman, and she'll be covering spiritual and practical tools to prepare for life's final transition. Really important topic. I think that is often overlooked in our culture. And the week after that, on Monday evening from 5 to 7, we are doing a celebration of gratitude and an open house, which will feature a guided gratitude meditation to kind of help us all get grounded for the holidays. So hopefully you can all come back to one or many or even all of those. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Callie Pegeus, who also goes by Colina, and right?
Yes.
Yes. Callie is a natural healer, certified Kundalini Yoga teacher. She's been practicing yoga for 16 years, Kundalini for over 13, and she's been teaching yoga and meditation for about 7 years. She's a Reiki master. She's a big advocate for women's transformation, and through her life's work, she brings together modern and ancient techniques into tools that transform and empower women to generate greater peace, love, cooperation, and balance in their lives. She's going to be sharing with you wisdom about women's unique energy flow and the hidden gifts that shift our emotional cycles. Callie is bringing to you today the ancient technology of the moon centers, showing you how to create deep understanding of your own flow and simple ways to clear balance, and empower your life so that you can have the life that you dreamed of. So without further ado, I present to you, Callie.
Thanks. Hi. And just to start off with, I don't ever intend to leave men out. The focus is on women, but men are just as special and important.
Almost.
Just different.
We all have our inner woman.
Right.
And our inner
We do.
all have their inner masculine.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I want to share with you today some tools that are going to simply and easily help us to create emotional balance, personal power, clearer understanding and deeper intuition, and ultimately a happier and more vibrant life. So as he said, I also go by Colina. People call me Callie, Jagjeevankar. You can just call me Callie if that's easiest. Whatever you like. Any of those that ring a bell, that inspire you, call me whichever one you like. So, a little bit of history, which we all kind of, I think, inherently know, but for a very long time, for thousands of years, women's wisdoms have been kind of pushed to the side, kind of hidden, sometimes misconstrued, kind of turned on their ear. Women themselves have become more and more disempowered in a male-dominated society. As a result, women have had to become more masculine in nature in order to compete in society and lift ourselves up. And that doesn't always create balance inside of us. Women have been called out as unstable, unpredictable, even kind of crazy. And that's been going on for so long that we've started to kind of believe it. And we go through so many emotional shifts, if we don't truly understand where those shifts are coming from, then we just kind of have to make the best of what we're going through. So, a woman's true power lies in her presence, not so much in her doingness. Doingness is more of a masculine aspect of a human. We all have to do things in order to live life. But a woman's true gift is in the presence that she brings to any place that she enters. Subtlety and flow, heart-centeredness. These are all gifts of the sacred feminine, which men hold as well. I'm returning deep but simple tools and ancient wisdom to women, so we can each experience the reestablishment of the sacred feminine within, and then let it radiate out into the world. What makes me qualified? Well, I'm a female. I've been through all this stuff. I know what it's like to force that natural flow into hard-pressed work weeks and get it done, get it done, get it done at all costs. Our bodies and our psyches aren't set up for the constant grind. So, and that's culturally what we've been taught is what we're supposed to do. That's where our value is, how much we can get done. So in what we're doing here, we're creating a space where we can kind of shift our perspective of our value from what we do to who we are and the gift that we bring from inside. There's not a whole lot of understanding in corporate America for women's differences and the needs that women have. I've experienced the intense emotional roller coasters, attachments, emptiness, depression, addictions, father and mother issues. Mothers that are just too busy to give their children the presence that the children actually need. Childhood sexual trauma, shame, victimization, deep disconnection, and self-loathing, which is quite normal in women today, sadly. So I've also experienced the dramatic effects that a little bit of knowledge and a small commitment to myself can create. And when I started, my commitment to myself was pretty small. And it was just kind of, I'm going to try this because I don't really know what else to do, and this is calling me. Before I learned about the Moon Center technology, and the Moon Center technology is very old. It doesn't come from Kundalini Yoga. It comes from the same area of the world as yoga, so India area. But the actual origins of this wisdom is a little unknown. Before I started using this technology and this wisdom to quickly and easily balance myself, I was investing in bad relationship after bad relationship. I was getting really frustrated and then lashing out. And this has given me a lot more ground to understand what's going on, provide adequate boundaries and support for myself so that I'm finding a whole lot more balance. And when I'm out of whack, I'm aware that I'm out of whack, not everything else around me. And sometimes when we're out of whack, we can either take a few minutes to go and readjust, or if we don't have that, we can at least be aware of the fact that, okay, I'm out of whack and my perception of things is a little off. I feel like nobody loves me right now. Is that really the truth? Well, probably not, but that's how I feel. And when we feel that, that becomes our reality. That's our lens that we're looking through. Our emotions are the lens that we see life through. That's kind of the current reality. Overdoing, under-receiving is another big thing that we encounter as women these days. Holding grudges, anger and outbursts, not standing up what's truly right for us. I felt pushed and pulled in every direction, and I suffered greatly to the point where I snapped and broke my hand on a wall. And that was kind of a wake-up call, like, something's not quite right here. So if you're also tired of the ups and downs, you want to really understand yourself more deeply and your very valid needs, you're ready to drop the old stories and live in the power, which is natural to you, happiness and joy. Those are our normal birthrights, and we're kind of pulled away culturally because we should be this and we should do that. Living from an open and whole heart. This is what this presentation is all about. We're going to learn how to use the emotions that have been running us ragged to fuel deep healing and true happiness. Understanding our unique and personal flow, we can anticipate and utilize the emotional shifts to the fullest, because emotion is just energy in motion. When we get attached to the emotion becomes us, or we feel like it becomes us. When it's stuck and when we're attached to it, it gets stuck, and that's when it causes problems, because we're identifying with the emotion rather than our true self, our Satnam. So we're going to talk about unique gifts and challenges as women today. So all humans have these things called moon centers. Men have one moon center, it's in their chin. So men's gifts to the world, constancy, strength, steadiness, linear thinking. These are all gifts that men bring to the world. And then men tend to be more constant when they have facial hair on their chin. Just one of those interesting things about men's moon centers. Women have 11 moon centers. And they shift every 2.25 days. So if you're like ready to just lose your mind on somebody, sometimes it's like, wait a couple days, and see if the shift has come in a couple of days.
Are you saying moon or mood?
Moon.
Okay.
Moon center. So just as the moon shifts astrological signs every couple of days, in our bodies, as women, our moon center shifts every couple of days. There are 11.
So why 11 and not 12? Is it because eventually, I suppose in
Like
early
the zodiac?
astrology there were only 11 signs, so I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense. It plays it back to that. Okay, so
No, this is great. I don't necessarily have an answer for that. This wisdom doesn't come from me. I didn't invent it, so I really don't know why 11, not 12. 11 is a pretty magical number, but I really don't know why it's 11 and not 12.
Just seems like it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's 11. Yeah. So these moon centers are responsible for our emotional landscape. So our emotional space naturally shifts, not because of something's wrong, because this is the way that we're created, and we can use these shifts and the knowledge of these shifts to deepen our experience. So rose-colored glasses, moon centers and how we see life. Our emotional space creates the reality or lens through which we see life. When we feel unseen or unappreciated, we subconsciously start fighting for what we need, or simply give up and feel like nothing, like zero. Believing we have no benefit to the world or those around us, including ourselves. When we hang out in this space, we feel disempowered. We can lash out, hurting ourselves or others. When we uncover the tendency in our current moon center, we can quickly bring ourselves back into power. And we're going to go through the moon centers and what the challenged, positive, and neutral states are for those after we go through a little bit more details of the overall energy. By knowing where we're at and how it can affect us, there are quick 3-minute practices, foods that are better to eat, short meditations that we can do to bring ourselves into a neutral state. And in yoga, there's negative, there's positive. The negative is important to let you know, there might be danger there. The positive is important to give us a goal. That's not always the reality. So in yoga, the neutral space is actually more powerful than the negative or the positive space. And we'll get to what those neutral spaces are for each moon center. If we're unaware, then we don't really have the opportunity to go in and do something that can shift our space. And then we end up just having to deal with it until it changes itself. Knowing your energy. If you optimizing your flow to bring the magic home. So, all humans are an intricate network of energy flow. There's meridians, which are like energy veins running through our body. We also have our basic 7 chakras and more chakras, energy wheels. So all of these things play together. So, moon centers aren't the only thing, but they have been the most powerful technique for shifting my emotional space and my reaction to life very quickly and easily. And they also provide a really accurate window into why I'm feeling a certain way. And I've got a couple examples from my own life that I'll share with you later on. So our chakras, they can be overly open, they can be closed down. So, balancing our energies throughout our body is really good as well. Including our energy field around us, which alerts us to danger. So women have, when you see paintings, like Renaissance paintings, and the saints and angels have halos, that's our arc line. We have women have a moon center on our arc line here. Women also have an arc line from nipple to nipple. So it gives women an extra capacity without the physical strength to see dangers and protect our families. So that's why women have an extra arc line. But that's what we see, like clairvoyant visual, sometimes see energies, and that's why you see halos and things in pictures like that. So a woman's energy flow is very different from a man's energy. Like I mentioned before, men have a very linear energy, which, I guess the easiest way to see the difference, women's energy is circular. The easiest way to see the difference is sexuality. Men have a very finite, from arousal to completion, where a woman's energy kind of circles around and continues to circle around. Men are great with timelines, and so many women are great with timelines as well. And women have an inherent capacity to kind of see the organic whole more, but men do also have this. So, as some women carry more masculine energy and some men carry more feminine energy, these things definitely shift. But that's kind of an overall kind of shape of the energy. This is a really interesting point, and this comes from Yogic texts. Women are 16 times more powerful than men, and that doesn't make women better than men. This is not like the old feminist movement where it's like, woo, women, forget men. That's definitely not what it is. Women are more intuitive. We have an infinite depth. However, the capacity, the 16 times capacity, can also create a scenario where we're 16 times more likely to find turmoil and commotion. So it gives us a greater responsibility, if we want peace and joy in our lives, to work with that power, so that we're utilizing it in really beneficial ways rather than damaging ways. And this information is like just starting to resurface in society. So using the short practices that go along with the Moon Center information and the Moon Center wisdom, we can take our tendency for complaining and change it to commitment. We can take our competing with other people and other women and change it to contentment and containment. So you're containing your space, and as we contain our own space, we can hold that space for other people, and we can take comparing, and we can change that to compassion. Yogi Bhajan calls that the 3 C's: complaining to commitment, competing to contentment, and comparing to compassion. So those are just some examples of some primary shifts that the Moon Center wisdom can help us to make without having to invest hours a day in our life. Because I don't know too many people that actually have all this extra time. So the moon centers, like all life, are inherently sensual. When any particular moon center that a woman is in, that part of her body will feel more sensual than it might when she's not in that moon center. Women's sexuality is really powerful, and part of the reason that it's been hidden and marginalized for thousands of years because it's really hard to control. I won't get into the whole history of controlling and the demonization of women's sexuality. But the good thing is, like, we're living in a time now where that's kind of coming to an end, and we're kind of coming full circle on that. And our human sexuality has been brought so far out of whack that we're kind of due for a rebalancing of that as well. And this is all part of it. Our connection to our sensuality opens the door to deep and lasting healing. It's a huge part of who we are as humans. So integrating that, again, is another part of the Moon Center technology. It's not an overt part, it's kind of more of a subtle part. Realizing that all aspects of ourselves are divine, we can unsubscribe from damaging messages and explore deeper healing and more meaningful connection to the earth and all of our brothers and sisters. So, we just talked about the hairline being one of the moon centers. So the hairline is an arc line and an energy center. So when our moon center is in the hairline, we're visionary. That's a positive aspect. We can create amazing visions of what we want to see and what we want to manifest in life. When it's challenged, we can be very paranoid. Kind of the opposite of visionary, where your vision's actually shut down and we can feel like something negative can happen. When we're neutral in the hairline moon center, we're unmovable. We know exactly what it is that we need, exactly what we want to do, exactly what we need to do. Moving down from the hairline, we've got cheeks. So when your moon center is in your cheeks, you're great at PR. You can do public relations for anything. The challenge aspect of that is flirting. Flirting is when we are trying to get love from outside of ourselves. And when we're neutral in the cheeks, we're radiantly beautiful. So thinking about your cheeks. So women put stuff on their cheeks, or they used to pinch them to make them red. When you're nervous, like I'm feeling right now, they get a little warm. So moving on, and we don't have very long to spend on these. There's a lot more information for each one. We're just going to briefly touch on each one so you have an idea of what they are, and I can give you a handout later that has these listed if you'd like to look at them more. So moving from the cheeks, we've got eyebrows. So this is where our third eye is. We pluck our eyebrows out. Some people take them out altogether, pencil them back in. Healing dreams. That's a positive aspect of the third eye, or the eyebrow moon center. Challenged in this moon center, we can fantasy illusions. Somebody comes in with this giant illusion, we're going to buy it hook, line, and sinker. When we're neutral, we can use our visions and take action on our visions. Then we've got earlobes. So we put a lot of stuff through our earlobes. They're very, very sensitive. When we're in the earlobes moon center and we're in the positive space, we want to discuss deeply things about life. When we're feeling challenged, we can be very self-deprecating. But when we're neutral, we can be empowered by our values. So positive, you want to talk about your values. And in the neutral aspect of it, we're holding those values. It's not as much where we need to go and express them as much, where they just are solid, they're reality. We have another moon center in our lips. When we're positive in this moon center, yes, we can be very talkative. But if we're negative or challenged in this moon center, we can start to gossip. We can be very sharp-tongued. Things can come out, even if you have a good intention, we can inadvertently say things and it will come out negative. It could hurt somebody's feelings without even trying to. When we're neutral in here, our communication is excellent. So if, in any relationship, lips tend to be a challenging one for me. And sometimes when I'm in my lips moon center and stuff's just coming out and I just want to, sometimes you just got to zip it up a little bit. Because it's really better just to hold that thought than let it fly. Because if it's true and you need to say it, it will still be there. And when we find balance, we can speak about it, even in this moon center, we can speak to it in a really empowering way, empowering for us, empowering to whoever we need to speak to. But if we're feeling challenged and we just want to bite that person, it's good just to be like, okay, if I'm not speaking from a place of love, it's best not to speak just yet. I'll hold that for a little bit and we'll see how it goes later.
And sometimes it's months.
Yeah, totally. But, that's a good thing to be aware of. If the same thing is hanging around, next week, next month. And in certain moon centers, the same things will come back up and come back up each month. And then you can tell, you can kind of start to see a pattern. Okay, this is coming up every month. So this is actually something that needs to be addressed, whether it's inside of me or externally. Externally, people reflect stuff back to us that's really going on inside of ourselves. So most of the stuff that I'm finding is actually stuff that needs to be addressed inside of me. Although, I've tried repeatedly to make my husband fix it, and it's generally not his deal. So he's pretty good at being like, okay. So the next moon center is in the nape of the neck. So kind of where your hairline meets your neck. So this is a very romantic spot. Like, if somebody touches you there. In the positive aspect of the neck moon center, you have a romantic voice. In the challenged aspect, you have no voice at all. And in the neutral aspect, you're able to speak directly from your heart. So it's not that the positive aspect is bad in any way, but too much of it, go overboard with the romantic speaking, whatever. So the next moon center is in the nipple arc line. So in the positive aspect of this center, this is actually the one that I'm in at this very moment, we can be over-giving. We see somebody hurting and we just want to rush in there and help them. In the challenged aspect of the center, we can be such a victim. And that really, really doesn't feel good. Like, we can feel very victimized. In the neutral aspect of the center, we're really unconditional in our love. But we know how and who to help people. We're not just like, oh, this person needs food, so I'm going to put everything I have on hold and go, fix this other person's problem. We know what can help them. And a lot of times, physical activity isn't what we have to give at that moment. Prayers, sending energy, sending healing. There are a lot of different ways to help people. So being neutral in the nipple moon center helps us to be really aware of the best way to help somebody. And if it's our role to help that person at this time. Okay, so belly button. So the navel. Navel is like very physical energy, where your breath really roots from. When we're challenged in the navel moon center, we're feeling really unstable. Like energetically, when your navel's not connected, you don't have your breath, your walk might be a little bit out of balance, like things just, your body doesn't flow the way it normally does, or the way it does when you're feeling in tune. When you're neutral in the navel moon center, you've got the power to show up.
And what was the positive?
Physical energy.
Physical energy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you can grab something that has all this written on it later on if you want. Inner thighs. So in the positive aspect of the moon center, of your inner thighs, moon center, you're highly organized. When you're challenged, you're disorganized, and you cannot find organization if organization hits you in the face. When you're neutral, you've got a creative strength, and it's naturally organized. Sometimes, like, we tend to be disengaged from our inner thigh muscle because it's not one of the major muscles that we use. In Kundalini Yoga, we use 3 locks. Root lock or Mulaband is pulling up on your rectum, sex organ, and navel, and it brings energy up your spine. In the Tao, they call that the sacral pump. So it's a space of holding your energy. When you pull your inner thighs in, it causes your spine to come up taller without being stressed. It's relaxed but taller. So, and the inner thighs are also very sensitive. And the last 2 moon centers, so we've got the clitoris, socially charming in the positive aspect of that. When we're challenged in the clitoris, clannish, we only want to be around the people that we know and we trust. We're not outgoing to see and trust new people. And in the neutral aspect, we're natural leaders. And the last one, and these don't actually go in this necessarily in this order. Each woman has a different order, and that's, I find, to be one of the trickiest things. Mapping what your order is actually really simple, but then just following through, staying connected with where you're at. I have a list of, how the different ones flow for me, and I'll still, like, if, I fall off for a few days and I'm not checking in, I'll forget, and I have to go back and say, okay, which one am I in now, and then just recalibrate. So the last moon center is in the vagina. In the positive aspect of this moon center, we're energetically connected, and in the challenged, we feel like nothing, like zero. And in the neutral, same beginning, same ending. So in this moon center, we feel deeply, we see deeply. So if a conflict or a crisis comes up, we can feel really, really deeply into it. And sometimes I've noticed that the depth of my feeling can kind of outweigh the weight of the situation. So it's just something to keep in mind. And it's, all of our feelings need to be honored. Feeling that is not a bad thing. Feeling through it, not being the emotion, feeling into it, and kind of looking into that emotion to see what's going on a little bit deeper is wonderful. It's really helpful. So for each woman, the order of your moon center cycles, the order of your moon centers, how they shift, stays the same from birth in the womb. Before birth, in the womb, women have 11 moon centers. And it stays the same through death, unless there's some specific trauma that may cause a shift. So shifts can happen, but it's very rare. So we can use the ancient science to understand our current emotional landscape, deepen our understanding of the situations that created those emotions to begin with. Usually not the current one, but sometimes it is. And then we can take a 3-minute exercise, food, meditation, walking meditation, connecting with nature to balance ourselves and bring ourselves into the positive and neutral spaces. So I have a great husband. I actually have a really great guy in my life. And one day I was telling him, I just love you more and more every day. And then I was like, but there are 2 to 4 days per month I just want to tell you to get out. And he laughed. And it's really funny because the next day after I told him that, I was like, I need you to get out. He laughed at me. He was like, okay, where would you like me to go? A lot of times we tend to blame our shifts on PMS or stuff like that. And I noticed that most of my more challenged states don't happen anything around menstruation or the full moon. So it's really helped to know this, because usually there are a couple of moon centers that tend to challenge us specifically each time they come around. And knowing which ones challenge us more and which ones tend to be easier is another great thing. Like, oh, I'm like, I've got these 4 in a row, and whoo, good times. You know, and then, oh boy, lips are coming up. So I know, like, it gives us kind of an awareness of that space, so we can start to plan events around when we're going to have the energy for that kind of thing.
So can I ask a question? Once you map them out, they're going every 2.5 days you're going to be going through the same not the same cycle, but you'll go into the next one, and it never changes.
Never changes.
Once you map them.
Unless there's trauma that causes them to shift, it never changes.
Okay.
Can trauma mess it up so it doesn't flow in always the same way?
No, it will shift, but then it'll stay again. It's not going to. Trauma won't cause it to be all over the board.
You just have to remap it.
You just have to remap it. Yeah, so, and like, I had an instance this weekend. It was, and you know, when you're in a challenging moon center and there's a powerful full moon and there's astrology that's powerful, you know, it's good to be aware of, okay, I'm in this and I'm feeling particularly challenged. Plus, you know, I've got this that's going on that could be challenging me kind of externally, internally. So I like to combine ongoing astrology, what's going on with the moon, with eclipses and things like that, and see where my moon centers are playing out with that. So like with what came up this weekend, I was moving and I had a lot of family stuff. My daughter's birthday was this weekend. She just turned 1, woohoo. But I was in the space, I was like so excited it was her first birthday, and I was feeling so unloved. And for no reason, like there was not a particular thing that was happening that nobody did anything to me. I was just like, I know I didn't have time, or I didn't take the time to go sit and be like, okay, where am I at? What's going on? What do I need to do? So I was aware that I was in a strange space, and I just kind of made the best of it, and the next day shifted. So having the awareness like really helped me to still have a really great day for my daughter's birthday. So we can go from negative and disempowered to light and love, stressed to centered, from I can't to I can, and I do have all the support I need. From forcing it to growing with the flow. So that's what this technology is really all about, like bringing us back into our flow with simple, easy techniques.
And sometimes waiting it out.
And sometimes waiting it out, yes, that's a really good, sometimes waiting it out. Knowing when to speak and knowing when to just sit with it. Hold space for your emotions. They're not always there to be,
Projected sometimes.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Sometimes they're there for our learning experience, or whatever reason they may be there for. I don't, necessarily know. But, a lot of times it's old stuff that's coming up. Maybe, I was feeling unloved because of, past relationships I felt unloved. Maybe there was instances when I was a kid that I was feeling unloved. We can go deeper into that, but just holding that space, I find being aware of the space that I'm in and giving myself what I need, and just holding it, it gives the emotion that is stuck a place to be nurtured, so it can just start to relax and dissipate. And we hold that space for ourselves. And of course, being with other women and other people that can hold the space for us as well. They don't have to be women. When men understand the nuttiness of going through all these shifts and can hold the space for that, that's really a magical kind of relationship to have. So I'm starting a longer term course for this in January. It's going to be 3 months long. We're going to have 6 webinars. We're going to chart our cycles, which we chart over 1 month, and then we do it again the next month to make sure. The first time I charted it, I was off and I had to readjust it. So making sure we've got our particular rhythm down, and we will start working with different techniques to balance. And each moon center has a few different ways, at least, to work on balancing it. It's about finding exercises that work for you, or ways of eating that work for you for that particular moon center as well. There's going to be some Kundalini Yoga in there, especially Kundalini Yoga that is specifically for women. Short meditations that we can do, like the Kirtan Kriya, specifically for women, laying on your stomach with your chin on the floor and your arms by your side. Sa, ta, na, ma. The instructions for Kirtan Kriya are up there, and that's just a small shift in that. We're also going to have in this workshop a workbook that's going to be really essential for quickly and easily being able to shuffle through and see what's going on. So, we'll be able to log emotions, or we'll be able to log date, moon center, emotions, and have some journal space, so that you can, and hopefully by that time we'll have an online tool to help us out, but that may come later.
And you're going to deal with the food aspect of it as well? Or?
We're going to deal with some with the food aspect of it. It's more like making recommendations, knowing there are only a few of the moon centers that I have heard of specific foods being prescribed for those moon centers. There are some, obviously, that really are detrimental to have alcohol, and caffeine can be tough for women all the time. Women's bodies are built more delicately than men's bodies, and we have been taught to treat our bodies more like men treat their bodies. We caffeinate all the time, we eat sugar all the time, we go until you crash. And we keep doing that, and it burns us out. So women just require a little bit different type of care than men do. I would like to hear this kind of talk from him. So there's a course starting in January, and if you're interested in it, you're welcome to put your name on the email list, and you'll get a 25% discount on the course. The course is $250, so that would make it $200 for anybody that wants to join up from this workshop. And it's going to be pretty magical. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to also have a Facebook group, and we're going to have community. We're going to be sharing on our webinars what we're going through, and getting feedback from other people. That's a really big part of it. When I started mapping my moon centers, it was really in a vacuum. There's a book, I read it, I started working on it on my own, and just sitting with it in meditation. When I'd go to do my yoga practice, I'd take a few minutes either before or after, and just kind of find out where I'm at, and if I need an adjustment. I don't always need an adjustment. I don't always need to fix anything, but sometimes I do. So.
And pass around a copy of the email list for everybody to sign up. Like Callie can get you on her list.
Is that going to be through a holistic school, or where we?
It's going to be an online course.
Okay, online.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also, with the course comes a personal consultation with me. So if you have questions, you can email me. We'll have a phone consultation. So I would recommend kind of getting into it a little bit, so you really get some juicy questions. Yeah.
So is the technique, or is it originally from the Vedas, you said?
The Moon Center wisdom comes from the area of India, from where yoga comes from and all that. But the actual origins are really ancient and kind of unknown.
Was that way because they had to hide it, or?
Well, there's definitely a sensuality to it, and with women's sensuality being so repressed for so long, there's a lot of wisdom that had to be hidden in order for it to survive, kind of like Toltec wisdom, any indigenous wisdom that the Catholic Church didn't see as in alignment with their teachings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not exactly sure that, and I've spoken with my teacher about that as well, and it's been kind of glazed over, but when I get more information, I'll share that, but I'm not exactly sure if or when, origins information is going to surface.
What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is called The Moon She Rocks You. Revealing the Secrets of Women's Inner Emotions. Guru Tej, Guru, Gurutej. She's the author of that book. And whether you're interested in the workshop or not, I would highly recommend that book.
Do you have that on that piece of paper that you're passing out?
Yes.
You do, good. Thank you.
How did she learn about it?
The wisdom was brought to women of the U.S. by Yogi Bhajan.
Okay.
Yeah, in women's camps. So there were specific women's camps. So women would go to women's camp, I think it was 2 months a year, and he would relay teaching specifically for women. Men had like 3 days. I don't know that that's fair, but I guess women are a bit more complex. So that's how the wisdom came to the U.S. Any other questions?
What was the thing that you said was mentioned in the Vedas? There was one point that you made that you said this is from the Vedas.
Oh, I was talking about the 16 times more powerful.
Oh, okay.
That.
Do you know, like, where in the Vedas it says that, or what, like, if I wanted to look it up, or if the passage,
I
or,
am not really sure, but I
whole
bet
context.
Google
Okay.
Google knows everything.
Yeah.
And also, if you're really interested and you want me to look into it further, I'd be happy to look into it further and send you some
All right.
info.
Cool.
And I think also that it's like, I hesitate to say that sometimes. I'm like, I feel like women, it's good for us to sit in our power, but we've been through, before this time that we're in right now, where it's kind of more male-dominated society, it was a female-based society, matrilineal. Women held roles of leadership over men. And I believe the reason that shifted was it came imbalanced as well. So it went from that imbalance to the imbalance that we're kind of in now. And we're moving into a space where it's finally rebalancing. And we've got an opportunity to really balance the sacred feminine with the sacred masculine. Because male dominance has nothing to do with sacred masculine. And we carry both inside of ourselves.
Yeah, it's like a forceful thing, it seems like.
Yeah, and the sacred masculine is not forceful.
Yeah,
It's
so it's like provider and
Yeah.
looking like a guardian or something.
Yeah, absolutely. that strength, that support, that sun, clarity.
Yeah, like a shepherd or something.
Yeah.
So, have you, when you have been doing this work and you're with other women, do you notice what the relationship between the women are as they're in different centers? And are you at the point where you can almost intuitively, by listening to someone talk, understand what center they're in at that time, and or have you noticed the dance that you have with other women who are dominantly in another center, that like you may be in one of your happy centers and someone else may be in a center that challenges you, and somehow by them being in that it's like you have this kind of interaction. I guess I wanted you to elaborate a little bit on what those dynamics are like for you.
Yeah, there are not a lot of people that I know, besides other Kundalini Yoga teachers that have worked with their moon centers. Not all Kundalini Yoga teachers have done that at all. There are my mentor is around a lot of women that have worked with their moon centers for a long time, and they know explicitly, oh no, you're in this center. So they know it's kind of a doorway to knowing each other even better as well, and kind of creating compassion for the spaces each other are in, even if it creates a little bit of a conflict or a little friction here and there. Yeah. Well, she was telling me that just by the way that a friend speaks, she can know automatically what center that friend is in. And I think some of that has to do with how well you know a person. So I am looking forward to the time when there are so many women that know about their moon centers that we can interact like that. That's definitely one of my goals. It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, I have a friend who I'm very close to, and I'm listening to, and we talk almost every day, and so I'm listening to all these different things. I'm going, oh yeah, I've been, like, I mean, I can see it so much easier sometimes as the projection of her experiencing them rather than my directly experiencing them. And as I was sitting for a little while longer, I was going, oh yeah, well now let's take this back into yourself, and get a little more clear on when you're in these different parts of yourself.
Yeah, it's easy to be like, oh, this person, that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And like with anything that comes to you, we have a compass inside of ourselves that tells us, is this BS or is this real? So you got to go with your own compass. For me, it just absolutely resonates, total reality. And it's changed my life. Like, I especially see it in relationships, especially with my husband. Poor guy, he knows that our relationship is going to get talked about left and right, but always with a sense of respect. Because those kind of the partnerships are where our biggest things are reflected right back in our faces. So, there are opportunities present themselves to blame our partners for all sorts of wonderful things. But if we want to just really get to it, we don't need to blame anybody. There's just something going on there. And just kind of, nudging at it, giving it some space, holding the space for it, we can work with it a lot better.
And he doesn't have to get kicked out once a month, right? Or he just knows to predict, okay, I'm going to go today.
I'm going to just be quiet.
Before you say it, I'm going to be gone today. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. He doesn't take it personally. He knows if I'm out of whack, and it's, me being out of whack. Unless he did something that I need to address, then that's just what it is. And having a partner that, even if he thinks you're a little crazy right now, like just holding the space and knowing that you're going to move through it and you're you and he still loves you or she still loves you, whatever, it's pretty magical.
Were you with your current husband when you first started studying this?
I had started studying before I met him, and then I took a break because I got pregnant, life got really crazy, and then I was like, had to come back to it. Because this is what grounds me. And also my daughter, I now have a daughter, and she's 1, and she's got her own moon centers, and I want to give her the space where she can know herself better and use this as a tool to, if she chooses, it's totally her choice, to help her find more balance and happiness in life. Because I remember being a teenager. So, yeah, you've got moon centers and, full moons and new moons and eclipses and astrology and hormones. So, teenage years are crazy for everybody. So, I think the more that we can do to help our females be, our girls, our females, our sisters, our mothers be more constant, ourselves be more constant. Start here always. The more that the world can kind of chill out a little bit, and we'll experience less of those dynamics. But but feelings aren't a bad thing. Learning to hold space for your feelings is, and you know, in holding space for ourselves with our feelings. Because I've been like in spaces where it's like, I'm sad and you're not hugging me. Like, you know, like, we gotta hold the space for ourselves. I'll go in the room and hug myself if I need to. It's not necessarily, it's great to have people there. When you need a hug, you get a hug. That's great. But being there for yourself, when you feel like you need a hug and you're able to give yourself that, that's really the most important thing. It's great to, you know, get the support from outside of ourselves, but being able to hold that space, even if we're feeling empty and we're, you know, going through that space, like I may have had this past weekend where I need a hug and nobody wants to give it to me. You know, just holding that space for yourself. Being aware that, okay, I'm being a little funky and, you know, I'm still good. There's really nothing here that needs to be fixed, even if I'm a little out of whack. So. We talked about that one.
We did.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Callie. That was
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Yes, and thank you for coming, everybody.
Yeah.